Alright, so welcome to my video that explains my assignment 1 assignment. So first I have my classes here. They have their variables and their operator overload to output this string whenever the object itself is outputted to the console. So yeah, there's that. And they each have their, like I said, variables and their operator overload. So yeah. And then now onto the program itself. Here is the actually no, before I even show the main menu, the main function, this this, as you can see, this file is sorted into different functions, and I did that because like I didn't want there to be like 400 500 plus lines of code in one function. Like that doesn't even sound right. So that's what I did. So for the main function, I made a list of project objects and made the variable for the user input. I use a do while loop to have like all the functionality inside of for the program inside of it. So this prints the menu. This function prints the menu. This gets input from the user and checks to see if it's valid, and if it's not, it will just run the thing again. It'll run it again. Console write, this is for formatting. Switch statement to check, or not check, but just to do things based off of the input. So like if the user inputted 4, it will go to case 4 and do that. Boom. And then this right here, this looks like a lot, but this is basically just making a new to-do object and then appending it to the list of to-dos in a project. This is all this is doing, and then it's like it checks to see if the project exists that the to-do project ID has, like, and it see if there's a ID in a project that corresponds to that project ID. So yeah, there's that. And then it also calculates the percent of the project as well, of the percent of the project complete as well after it adds the to-do that the create to-do function makes. So there's that. Case 2 creates a deletes a to-do. Case 3 updates a to-do. Lists to-do. Creates a project and adds it to the project's list. Deletes a project. Updates a project. Lists a project. Lists projects. Lists to-dos in a project, and then this exits the program. Just in case a user inputs an integer that is unknown by the program, then this is after the input is already parsed for an integer. So yeah, and then this is the while part, like the while loop part out in the do while. So that's the main function. That's the gist of the program. And so for the menu, this is just like outputs a bunch of strings to simulate like a menu, and it gives the user all of its options. README is like a README file, or like it's supposed to simulate a README file, so the user knows how to use the project, or not the project, the program, right? Like how to like navigate it, whatnot. This creates a to-do. So this is a new to-do. It gets the name, it gets the description, it gets the priority, and checks the priority. It gets the completion status, but not from the user. It's automatic. Gets the project ID, checks the project ID for validity, and this assigns an ID to the to-do, and then it returns the to-do at the end. So, and then we have delete to-do. This checks for existing projects. This is the variables to use to find the ID in project. These are the variables that are used to get the project and the to-do themselves, and not just the IDs. And then this gets the ID from the user and checks the ID as well. And this is for checking to see if the project exists, and If it doesn't exist, it'll return you to the function, to the main function. And if there are no to-dos in the project, then it also returns you to the main function. This gets the ID of the to-dos in the project. Um, and then it also checks to see if the entered ID is valid. And then we'll check to see if the to-do exists. And if it doesn't exist, it'll take you back to the main function. And then if it does, it will remove the to-do from the to-dos list. And then it'll recalculate that project's complete percent. So that's that one. That's the delete to-do. Update to-do. It updates the to-do. This gets the ID of the project, and this while loop just basically um, makes you have to input a ID, like a valid ID, right? That's basically just gets ID of the project and checks it. Same thing here, gets the project if it exists, and then if it doesn't exist, it'll just return you to the main function, like so. This gets the ID of the to-do, and this checks for the validity of the ID. This gets the to-do if it exists, and if it doesn't exist, it'll return you to the main function. This while loop is to let the user choose which facet of the to-do that they want to change, and it allows them to change it as many times as they want. Checks for valid input. This is just like the switch statement to divide the different options that the user has. So you can change the name, description, or the complete status. Error checking in the default statement. And yeah, that's the update to do function. List to do, pretty straightforward. If there's any projects, it will go through this loop. It'll loop through the projects, and then if there's any to-dos in that project, it will loop through that to-dos list in that project, and it will print out the to-dos. So that one's pretty straightforward. There's also an error message in this one too, right here. So yeah, and then create project, pretty straightforward. Makes a new project, gets the ID of the project, gets the name and the description, and assigns a complete percent and returns it. So that's pretty nice. Returns a new project, not the complete percent, but returns the new project. This one deletes a project. It gets the ID of the project, it checks for the validity of the entered ID, and then it gets the project to delete, and then clears the to-dos in the project, and then actually deletes the project from the projects list. So there's that. Updates update project. This updates the project. You get the ID of the project, and then you check for the validity of the entered ID, and then you this gets the project to actually update based off the entered ID. And then this is just like a loop to like in the earlier update function. This one this is a loop to let the user pick which facet of the project they want to change, and lets them change it as many times as they want. This checks for valid input, including like bad integers, and then this just lets the user this basically allows the user to pick which one they want. So yeah, there's that. Update. Okay, so now list projects. This one's really straightforward. If there's any projects, it will just list them in a linear fashion. It just like iterates through that list, and then prints them to the console. Okay, listed within project. You get the ID of the project, and then you check to see if it's valid, and if it is, or when they finally give you a valid ID, like an actual like ID, it will go through this like sort of monster if statement thing that I made here. So if there's any projects, it'll loop through that project's list, and if there's a value, or there's a ID that is equal to the inputted ID that the user inputted, it will check to see if that project's to-dos exist, if there's any to-dos in that project, and if there are, it'll print those to-dos. And if there's no to-dos, then it'll let the user know that there's no to-dos in that project. And if there are no projects with that ID, then it'll also let the user know that as well, that there's no projects with that ID. And last but not least, there's a calculate percent function where you calculate the percent of the project that is complete, aka get the number of to-dos that are complete and then divide them by the number of to-dos that the project actually has, and then you return that, which gives you the result. And then wait, hold on, you got to multiply that number, that fraction by 100 to get the percent, and then you return that number. So there's that, and that's everything. Now I'm going to run this program so you guys can see the like it in action, right? So the readme works. I'm gonna try to create a to-do. It won't work. All these won't work until you create a project, right? So I'm going to try to delete a to-do, update a to-do. Doesn't work. List the to-dos. There's no projects. So on and so forth. You guys will be able to see that there. You will not be able to enter. You will not be able to do anything until you create a project, basically. And then that's the ID of the project. There's no projects without ID, and there's no projects in general. So, and the reason why I'm inputting 1 for like these create the delete, update, and then create a delete and update a project, and then also the listing the to-dos in the project. I'm entering 1 because without creating any previous projects or deleting any previous projects, there are like the first project that you make will have the ID of 1. It'll have the ID of 1. So that means that like that's the first one that you could possibly make. So that means that if that one's not there and you haven't made any other projects before, then that means that there have been no projects created so far, if that makes sense. So there's that. I'm going to enter a bad input. I'm enter like G, right, and it will just take me back to the beginning because you end up getting a null value because it tried to parse it, and then if it didn't parse it, it'll just output a null value and just repeat it, right? So here we get. So now I'm going to try to. I'm not going to try to. I'm going to make a project. Let's say the first project is first project. First. So now we have that. I'm going to list it. I'm going to make another project too. I'm going to make a second one. Second. So as you can see, we have our 2 projects. I'm gonna try to list the projects, the to-dos in project 1, and there's no to-dos in that project, and that's what it tells me. So now I'm going to try to delete a to-do in this project. It doesn't let me. I'm gonna try to update a to-do in this project. It doesn't let me. I'm going to try to create a to-do. Or no, I'm trying to okay, hold on. I'm trying to okay. So did I already delete? So there's no to-dos in the project, and there are no to-dos to delete as well. I tried to list the to-do. Okay, I'm trying to. No, I tried. Okay, so now I'm going to create a to-do. I think I can create a to-do now. So let's say first to-do for project 1, priority 1. Let's say project IDs 1. I'll make another to-do for project 1. So now I'm going to list the to-dos in project 1, and as you can see, we have those 2 to-dos. I'm going to update the to-do in project 1. I'm going to update the first one, make it called, so I'm going to change the name first. I'm going to call it all uppercase first to do, and then and then I'm gonna change the complete status. And now I'm going to exit, and I'm going to list all the to-dos in project 1. So as you can see, we changed the name, the description is not changed, and the complete status is changed now. So I'm going to now list the projects. As you can see, the first project is 50% because it's 1 for 2 in terms of complete complete to-dos versus total to-dos, or complete to-dos divided by total to-dos. And the second one is 100% because there's no assigned to-dos to it yet. So I'm going to assign a to-do to project 2. And then it'll have a complete percent of 0 because I know it has a to-do, but it's not done yet. And since its total to-dos is 1, but it has 0 completed to-dos, the complete percent will be 0 because 0 divided by 1 is 0. So yeah, there's that. I think I showed all of the, I'm going to create another to-do for project 2 to show you guys like how the complete percent could change again. Second priority. Let's make it also, let's make it priority 2. And then I'm going to list the to-dos again. I'm going to now list the to-dos for oh wait, I have to update it. That's right. I'm gonna update this to-do. I'm gonna update to-do to, actually no, I gotta see which to-dos I have in. Okay, both these aren't done yet, so I'm going to update both of them and make them both complete. Three. So now they're both complete, and the complete percent is 100. And you can also actually go back and update a to-do and make it one of the to-dos incomplete. So I can change the complete status on the first to-do, exit, and then as you can see, the complete percent won't be 100% anymore, it'll be 50 because I marked the other one as incomplete. So now it's 1 for 2 in terms of completion. So there's that, and now I'm going to update this project. I'm gonna update project 2. I'm gonna say ID 2. I'm gonna update the name. I'm going to say new name is 1 second project. I'm going to update the description. New name, new me, and then I'm going to exit. I'm going to list them. As you can see, it changed. So there's that. And then I'm going to show you guys how the menus in the update handle bad input. So say project 1. Let's say 9 invalid entry, L invalid entry, false. Hold on, false. Oh, I did it twice in a row. Wow. E. Okay. Yeah. Invalid entry. Please try it again. So as you can see, like that one handles input, that type of input well. Let's say project 1 to do 1. Let's say L. This one will wait, or won't print out the menu again. This one will make you enter a valid option, but it does the same thing. I did both check for bad input. I'm gonna say 8. And then this one will see this one actually went to the default statement and made it make the loop reiterate. So there's that. And then now I'm going to delete project. Say I'm going to delete project 1. and I'm going to list all projects. And the IDs don't switch. They don't change. Like the ID is set forever. Like even if the previous project is deleted, it won't change the ID of the project of the second or third or fourth or whatever project. Right? It doesn't change it. So there's that. And I'm going to try to now list the to dos in project one. They don't exist anymore. They're gone. Right? So there's that. Um, Hope this video helped, and I'll see you guys later. Or see you TAs or whoever later, professor. Right? Alright. See y'all.